Hi, folks. Good evening. Welcome to another Saturday podcast session with myself. And this is Buckets and my dear lifelong friend, Leon. Hello, how are you?
You forgot me name for a second. How are you?
I'm just too excited. How are you? All right, so tonight's podcast, the three of us are going to be talking about Donald Trump and his followers. First question.
That wasn't me.
Sorry.
Oh, was that you, man?
First question I have for you is, why are people so obsessed with Donald Trump?
I should really put out. Why am I so obsessed with my phone? I'm going to turn this off. So no
all right, I think what they see in Donald Trump is he's not a politician. He's a guy that will say something and do something, not just say something and just wait and see how the other responds. He'll just say it and do it. That's what a lot of people have been missing in US politics for a long time. And I think he's probably the first person to actually do that.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people say that he's not really a politician. He's a promoter. And he's a very good promoter as well, because a lot of people followed him. And I remember watching his stuff, even as controversial as it actually was, just dying and thinking, oh my God, this is so hilarious. How can one man get away with this stuff? You pick any, it's actually funny because if you look at any other politician, if they were to say any of the stuff that Donald Trump was saying, they would end their careers tomorrow, effectively. It would be political suicide. But Donald Trump basically profited off it and basically got voted in because of it.
I think they're also obsessed with him is because they pretty much see him as one of them, and he sort of
that's what I said. You know, he's not your average politician. He's not really a politician at all. He's one of the boys, so to speak.
Yeah, and he basically, when he ran for the highest office in the land, he didn't use government money. He actually paid for it. Like, he didn't even.
He used his own money.
Yeah, he used his own money.
In fact, yeah, I even remember when he said that he only wanted to be paid $1.
I remember hearing that too. Do you also remember what provoked him? What was the final provocation for him to decide to run? When it was I think it was at the presidential breakfast or whatever it was, where, what's his name?
Obama.
Who was the president? Yeah, that's it. Barack Obama had said, that he'd done some research and he found his birth certificate. Donald Trump had always challenged whether or not Barack Obama was a US citizen. And Barack Obama said, I found this bit of footage which shows my birth certificate, and it actually showed the start of The Lion King. So basically, when
I saw that one.
When the monkey, I can't remember his name, Rafiki, I think it might have been Rafiki or whatever it is. He held the cub up, and they all had a chuckle about that. And I think that kind of got under Donald Trump's skin. And I think Donald Trump, from that point on, said, "You want to dance?" And they danced, and Donald Trump became your president in the United States of America.
I think they're also obsessed with him because of he's a celebrity, and he was the celebrity behind The Apprentice, and it was a very successful show, and he's worth billions. And the Trump followers see him as this celebrity godlike person who has a lot of money, could possibly, if they were to redo The Apprentice, they could possibly go on it, they could work for him. They practically worship the man. I mean, literally worship him. Yeah. I don't know if you saw the CPAC, the conservative.
No, I haven't.
CPAC, something, and they had this gold statue, which is fiberglass. Was it fiberglass?
Yeah, it was
fiberglass gold statue made in Mexico, sent to CPAC of him in a red, white, and blue outfit.
But basically looks like an Australian shorts that you might have to sock
and
up.
Basically what happened was the whole world erupted in basically what was seen in the 10 Commandments as when they lifted up the golden calf and they melted their gold and used it to make a golden calf. And they see Donald Trump as, well, his followers and the Republican or the Trump publicans see him as this, chosen one. God, he's a god. He's godlike. He's
So that changed. So so when I first saw the whole Trump campaign, Americans Americans were basically obsessed with two things, and that's fame. So if you look at every other nation in the world compared to America, America really do treat their stars like gods, effectively. And so they would have seen Donald Trump as a celebrity, but like a hard-working celebrity that can get stuff done. And that was different to all the other politicians, with the exception of Ronald Reagan, who also came from fame.
There has been several celebrities that have actually run for certain offices. Like obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California. Jesse Ventura, former wrestler, former Navy SEAL, became the governor of Minnesota as well. So as they use their profile and their celebrity status to help to help them get across the line. So that's a couple of examples. And right now, I believe we've got Glenn Jacobs, former wrestler, who's I believe the mayor of Knoxville. I think it's Knoxville or so one of those places. But anyway.
But what the point is that they're so obsessed with him. One, he's rich. Two, he's one of them. And the funny thing about all of this is that when his followers are saying that oh, come March 4th, we will be at the Capitol for Donald Trump's inauguration as the 19th president of the United States of America. That law changed in 1933 because original inauguration day was 1933, and that was the last time a U.S. president got inaugurated, and that law changed to January 20th. So his followers literally decked out in red, white, and blue and Trump flags and USA flags went up to the Capitol for Inauguration Day, March 4th, and then when nothing happened, guess what? They were all spewing.
Yeah, so because they feel like they've been robbed, but it's actually interesting that his followers specifically, the type of specific followers that he's got, they're like religious followers, and it's kind of interesting because if you look at countries like say South Korea, where they have people like Kim Jong I think it's Kim Jong Un, that's in power. They practically worship him and treat him like a god, and they see him as a god. And so Trump's followers, originally they saw him as a prophet. Then now they would have started off as a politician, then a prophet, then then now a god.
Godlike.
Or godlike. And now that you have MAGA churches basically worshiping him, it's based off this belief system rather than common sense. And a lot of people are backing behind that because remember, belief and religion, that's very, very powerful. I mean, even for people like Joe Biden, who's a Catholic himself, a lot of Catholics voted for him purely because he's Catholic. Okay. And the same thing happened for Donald Trump. So I know America tries to divide church and state together, but it seems to me that church and state is a real
it's a real thing happening.
It's a real power force that's choosing.
It's making people take sides or divide. It literally, what he's still doing is he's not disappearing. He, at the CPAC, he was like, oh, I'm going to challenge him and I'm going to win for the third time. And someone's going to go back into the White House. In 2024. Now, I don't know who that could be. I wonder who that could be. And he's now come out saying that he will definitely run in 2024. The scary thing is when everybody's been vaccinated and everybody's gone back to normal around the world, and in America, he's going to go. The thing is, what I don't know if you saw the CPAC, but the image they were standing on is horrific.
Yeah, actually, it was pretty offensive. So it was like almost like a diamond, but a Nazi symbol at the same time, like a swastika.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, really? Does America need another one of these guys? But a lot of people are backing that because they feel that they've been disenchanted by their own people, or even.
And just for the record, you mentioned Inaugurations Day. There's only ever been what 5 or 6 different dates since 1937. They've either been January 20,
Or March
January 21,
Yep.
April 12th, and November the 22nd, and August the 9th.
But the last one was March 3rd or March the 4th.
The last inauguration? The last inauguration, amazingly enough, the last 3 or the last 4 inaugurations I'll point out here. January 20, 2009, first inauguration of Barack Obama. January 21, 2013, second inauguration of Barack Obama. January 20, 2017 was the inauguration of Donald Trump. And January 20, 2021, the inauguration of Joe Biden. So Donald Trump was inaugurated on the 20th of January.
Yes, but go back in date and time. If you go back.
Well, you're talking about the original one.
The original inauguration. If you go back.
So what, George Washington's inauguration?
No, not George Washington.
The first inauguration was George Washington, April 30th, 1789. The second inauguration of George Washington was March 4th, 1793.
Yep. But that law changed in 1933. You see?
To be in a different date.
To change it to January the 20th or the 21st.
Okay, I'll take yours on that one. Yeah.
Right, you've got a point to this, I take it.
Anyways, okay. So the second question is, has Donald Trump's celebrity status been the driving force behind why his supporters can look the other way and forgive his bad behavior and reckless decisions?
I honestly think it is, because like I said before, if you had a sex scandal with a politician, like say Bill Clinton did, okay, he or she would be taken down immediately. But it seems.
But hang on, Bill Clinton had that scandal, like you said, but he ended up leaving more popular than he started with.
That's
Gotta figure that one out.
That's right, he did.
I don't know. Well, he did lose the presidency over it. But
not really.
I mean, he quit.
No, he didn't. He did not lose he did not lose the presidency over it. He went through his 2 inaugurations, and a president can only be inaugurated twice, which means he can only serve X amount of years. So he didn't get voted out. He had to leave.
Didn't he quit?
After his time was up?
No, Philip.
No.
He was impeached once for the sex scandal, which is correct. He was impeached. But the thing is, they never actually invoked the 25th Amendment then, because they didn't know how to use it.
Well, they didn't have one.
They didn't have one. So after he got reelected for the second term, people didn't forget, but people forgave him, because thing is, people like
because he needed to have sex with that woman, because who else would have sex with Hillary?
I'm sorry, Hillary.
Anyway,
I'm sorry.
But
yeah,
like if you look at it basically like as if you look at celebrities, right? Normal everyday celebrities, and I shouldn't say normal everyday celebrities because they're basically not normal. But they have affairs left, right, and center. It's practically everyday news feed that the press basically feed on, and I wonder if basically the people have basically almost forgiven Donald Trump's reckless, sleazy behavior because he's a celebrity, because he's rich, because he's been on The Apprentice. Because
I think yes, I think you're right, but the people that haven't forgiven him is the media, and they're still going after. I think he was recently at a dogs festival or something along those lines just today. I think he was at some sort of dog thing, and the media are beating that up, saying, "Oh, here he goes again," or something along those lines.
But if you
I think that was just today, if my memory serves me right.
But if you pay attention to one thing, when the pandemic hit 1 year ago today, he was like, "Oh, it's like a miracle; it's just going to disappear," right?
Well, he didn't actually say what he wanted was.
But what he told his what he told his followers is that oh, it's just going to disappear like a miracle. It's going to go away. But the thing is, he went on about it being a hoax and a Democratic hoax so that they can push him out. Little do his followers know that in secret, him and former First Lady Melania Trump actually got the vaccine in January in secret without telling anybody.
Well, see, this is the thing, right? So this is what one of the interesting things is that right now, Biden has been getting all this great press about, hey, the vaccine is out.
Yeah.
It's Biden that basically found the vaccine for us all. It's Biden that funded the vaccine. Biden is synonymous with vaccines. But the thing is, it would have been Trump that basically funded all of those programs to even produce a vaccine to begin with. And I think Trump was,
absolutely, yeah.
I think Trump was kind of banking on his vaccine to get voted in again, but it didn't work.
That would be a painful admission for you guys.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, that's what undone Donald Trump is the way that he reacted to it. I believe that if COVID didn't happen in the United States, Donald Trump would still be the president.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. The problem is he didn't know how to. Donald Trump really didn't know how to fix COVID. He could fix pretty much every other problem, but he couldn't fix COVID because he didn't know how. But he was pumping a lot of money into finding a vaccine.
Yeah, but the thing is,
it's Biden that got all the praise for it, and really Biden just got in for 5 minutes and gone, "Hey, we've got a vaccine after 5 days of my presidency. Aren't I awesome?"
But the thing is, the vaccine of the Warp Speed, Operation Warp Speed, he may have started it, but the thing is, Warp Speed was not, and they came out swinging, saying we are not in any way, shape, or form dealing with President Donald Trump. We don't have any affiliations with Donald Trump. We're not working alongside him. He hasn't come to visit us. He has nothing to do with the vaccine.
Except that he funded all the vaccine stuff.
He may have funded it, but they've had nothing to do with Donald Trump. They don't even know why he brought their name up to begin with. But look at it. This is point being, is that Donald Trump, to this day, in secret, didn't tell his followers that him and his wife got the vaccine. And that's just painstakingly wrong. I think he should have just admitted to it and told them how good it was.
Well,
and
I think there was a few things that he did wrong.
All right, go on.
There was a few things that he did wrong, like some suggesting that bleach could cure, and then he looked over to his medical expert and shaking his head. No, the media ignored that and went ahead like he was actually thinking he knows what he was doing, because he was actually suggesting possibilities on how we could cure this. But the media didn't pay any attention to that. They thought that he was a legit doctor of stupidity, and saying that if you can ingest bleach, you can ingest bleach into your stream or whatever like that, you can cure COVID. And then doctors and medical experts and even the people who sell the bleach or who manufacture it say that this is not recommended for this. Yeah, so they took his comments very seriously, but the mainstream media was the ones that actually thought that he'd lost his mind by saying that. But he didn't really say it in that context. All he did was say it as a possible solution. There was how many solutions could there be? And that was one of them that he should not have said, because that really came back to bite him.
Well, the thing is,
it really came back to bite him, to Joe Biden.
The problem with Donald Trump at that time was that what worked for Donald Trump was basically making fun of other people, like other celebrities and other politicians. And that worked. And people backed him because they basically used him as stand-up. And he thought, hey, I'm going to make a joke about coronavirus and see if I get even more popular. And it didn't work for him because no one was taking.
That backfired. That was one of them that backfired. He should not, like I said, he should never have said it, even if he thought it was a joke or whatever. But people manufacturing stuff like that, they didn't think it was a joke. They took that seriously, and that really worked against Donald Trump, not for him.
Oh, absolutely.
What's actually interesting about that is the minute he said bleach, guess what went up in sales? Bleach.
Bleach
Went up in sales.
and people were injecting themselves with bleach and having to go to hospital.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
there were people actually listening to it.
People took that as gospel.
Yeah.
This is what's
Yeah,
scary
well,
about.
they should have listened to their medical experts instead of the president of the United States.
Thing is, that's right, and you're right about that. Thing is, his followers or cult followers, right, or cult MAGA followers, don't believe anything the doctors say. Don't believe, like for example, when they were chanting "Fire Fauci, Fire Fauci, Fire Fauci," because Fauci has been serving all presidents until now, and Fauci, world-renowned doctor who I respect and admire, Dr. Anthony Fauci, has to have security and bodyguards with him and his wife 24 hours a day, 7 days a week still, because he's getting threats. And the thing is, when he became part of Biden's administration, now Trump's cult followers still are sending him threats. But the thing is, he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's dealing with.
I think another flaw that Donald Trump had was that he wasn't really good with handling bad news. And Dr. Fauci probably would have.
Oh, that's for sure.
He probably would have just told him the truth. And for that reason, Trump would have wanted to fire him.
Exactly.
So there's something about his own insecurity that was really screwing up the nation. So what's your third question?
Third question is the culture of America's love for celebrities and identity politics blinding the American people?
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, like, I think that this, when Hillary went for president's, wanted to run for president of the United States, what she was using the sex card a lot. She was saying, I'm a woman, 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 and hoping that would actually work for her. And for a lot of people, it actually did, but she didn't make it as president because there was also a lot of anti-Hillary statements as well that didn't quite work for her. But no one cared about basically the policies that or lack of policies that Hillary Clinton put forward. I mean, Hillary Clinton in her entire tenure only wrote something like 28 policies, and 3 of which were passed.
The gender issue didn't work. The gender issue didn't work for Hillary Clinton. What worked against her was the fact that Donald Trump was able to hit Hillary Clinton with the email scandal all the way through, and Hillary Clinton could not fight that.
No.
She didn't know how to fight it.
They couldn't trust that. So they had an issue between, okay, right, do we vote in Bernie Sanders, who's a socialist, or do we both vote in Trump, or do we vote in Hillary Clinton? And a lot of people just simply couldn't trust Hillary Clinton because they simply couldn't trust her. They lost trust in Hillary.
They couldn't trust Hillary because of the emails, and she couldn't provide answers for the emails.
Yeah, and
exactly.
There was just too much against her. So,
but to be honest, I'm you know me, I'm a Democrat through and through, inside out. And I have to say, when Hillary was running, I was proudly supporting her, and I had her image on my Facebook page and putting pictures of her, Democratic convention convention that they had. And
you weren't the only one. A lot of people were doing the same thing, but at the time, in Australia, we had just gone through that too, like the first Australian Prime Minister, and that ended up not working. And now that has pushed back the female prime ministership agenda probably back another 10 years because of the way that it got handled here in Australia.
Actually, I remember one of the things, because I used to be a strong Democrat. I mean, I could never vote for an American, election ever because I'm not American myself. But the one thing that
I'm not either.
But the one thing that actually broke me.
Me neither.
One of the things that actually broke me was when Hillary Clinton was found to exploit Haiti. And that was the thing that really broke my heart, because I thought I had such high standards for Hillary Clinton. And when I saw that her entire family were basically effectively ripping off Haiti through the Clinton Foundation, I was heartbroken at that, and that was
That hurt.
that was one of the things that literally made me, and also a lot of my other friends that would normally be Democrat supporters, change their mind. And yeah, I mean, how do you basically excuse ripping off a third world country? But that was from my point of view. So I think it was things like that that really questioned the integrity of Hillary Clinton.
But now the American people see Donald Trump for who he really is. And the fact that Biden and Kamala Harris are pushing through and pushing through and pushing through. His first 51 days, odd days in the White House, he's done more in 51 days than Trump has in 4 years. I mean, he's getting everybody back to
Oh, hang on. Well, hang on. Before we get onto that, what about the first few days of him being in office? The first thing he did was rip up a whole bunch of the whole bunch of things that Donald Trump had stamped on. So when you say he's done a few things, yeah, sure, he's done a few things. He tore up 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency in 50 something days.
Well, he rejoined the Paris
Climate Accord,
which was great.
Climate challenge. Yep.
There was also
my problem with that. Unfortunately, my problem with that issue, with joining up to the Paris climate change agreement, is I understand that China is allowed to produce 10 times more pollution before they start bringing it down. What's the point of having that if not every country is on board to try and bring down the pollution sooner rather than later? I don't understand that.
The thing is, we might have to bring this up in another discussion, but
yeah, of course.
The question is, right, can they actually meet any of the climate change targets?
I don't believe any country is going to be able to meet the targets. That's why America originally withdrew from that agreement. And I think that's also the reason why Australia pulled out of the agreement, because the target is not possible.
I think that's also
we could start bringing it down to a certain amount by what our own standards are.
Apparently we can get into that discussion.
Well, I think that was actually one of the reasons why Trump actually pulled out, because he was like, okay, we can't meet this challenge at all.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I think anyway.
And we need to produce lots and lots of jobs. So who cares about the environment, because people need to eat.
Exactly. Now, my fourth question is, did Donald Trump treat the White House like the hit show The Apprentice?
Oh, I think he totally did. I think the White House is just another version of The Apprentice. It's just on a larger, realer scale. So instead of firing apprentices, he's firing politicians.
Not politicians. He's firing his head of state. He's firing, his
politicians.
His department.
His department. He fired and hired so many people like the Apprentice, because they didn't agree with what he had to say or do, and they went against him. So boom, they were gone. Bill Barr fired him. Bill Barr was by his side. Bill Barr was his, lackey. Bill Barr was his attorney general. And then all of a sudden, when this all happened, Bill Barr bolted and said he wasn't going to be attorney general anymore. But the thing is, he was fired. He was fired in the 11th hour because he finally had enough and said there is no voter fraud. There's no evidence of voter fraud anywhere in America. So therefore, Donald Trump is lying. He's not telling the truth. And then once Donald Trump found that out, guess what? Boom, mic drop. He got fired like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's already quit. What's the point of firing him? I mean, is it just to make?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, is it just to make the same?
Just make himself seem like a big shot, I guess.
Quit. Screw you.
Yeah. Like everybody in the administration got fired. He was firing and hiring to the last minute.
Yeah, that sounds about right too. Well, one thing I didn't like is the amount of people that voted, right? I'm not against that, how many people actually voted at the last election, but it seemed to me as I was watching this whole thing unfold, is there seem to be more and more people voting than in American history or something along those lines. And also the amount of people voting up against the amount of people actually living in those particular states, which seemed rather odd. I think I've seen a couple of them where 107% of the population in that particular state voted. Huh? How can 107% vote when the maximum percent is 100%? And you're never going to get 100% people voting.
Yeah, it would always be it would always be the 50-50 or 75-50 or 85.
Not 100, not 107.
Yeah, it's not gonna. No way. It's it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
From what I've read, and forgive me for this, I could be wrong, but I was reading a couple of days ago that the Republicans or Trump Republicans introduced a bill to try and get it to law that in the next election, when Joe Biden gets reelected, in the next election, that they want to go against the will of the voters to overturn the election, which means that the voice of the people will not be allowed to be heard, nor will there be mail-in ballots. And if they
I heard that too.
Right,
isn't that illegal?
I heard that too, but
go on.
Yeah, it is illegal. You can't go against the will of the people. My problem is, like I said, how many people went out and voted and how many people actually went out and voted. So we're looking at probably twice as many votes as there should be. Well, that's why I'm against the electoral voting on election day. You know, you go to those machines and you vote with those machines.
Yeah,
that's why I'm against it. I'd rather go there, and put my name down, write whoever I'm voting for, then I'm done. Because I know my vote's going to count one time, only one time. And apart from that, it's mandatory in Australia anyway.
Yeah, I agree. It is mandatory, but I don't think you should. Well, that's not.
Personally, I think they should make it mandatory, but they should also change the electoral voting.
They should remove it.
Yeah, I think
they should remove the electric voting.
I believe they should.
Electoral voting, because the fact that different states get different points,
different results,
is kind of unfair, because just because you're in one state, your state may only be worth 1 point, whereas Texas, for example, might be worth 4 points, and so you're not.
And some elections the election may have already been, or may have already been confirmed before the final polls actually close. Like in Hawaii, I believe I think it's the last state to close. And by that time, the election's already over.
That's right. But the thing is, right, even with this new bill they're trying to introduce, the Republicans, which is to go against the will of the voters, to have the voters lose their voice, not be allowed to say who they want as president, not be allowed to do mail-in ballots. I think this shouldn't. They've done this bill, and I think the Senate themselves, and 99% of them are Democrats. Democrats took over the Senate and the House. Democrats took over the White House. Democrats took over their states. It is a blue wave, and I think if the Senate goes through with it, I think they're absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Well, right now, I believe the Democrats hold the upper and lower house, if my memory serves me right. But if the best way, I believe the best way to handle an election would be the way that the UK does theirs. How many people are actually in a state, how many people have voted, and you get to a point where you can actually call it, and they call all the candidates to the state. Have you ever seen a UK election?
Yes, I've watched it.
Yeah, then you know where I'm going with this, because when they are confident enough to have a result, they'll call all the members who are going for that particular seat or that particular state. They would call them up on the stage, read out the results. That's how you get your votes. That's how it should be, as far as I'm concerned. That's probably the easiest way to do the voting system.
I think, look, Joe Biden, God bless him. I stand with him. I stand behind him, and I stand next to him and Kamala. But I gotta give props to Joe Biden, and props to Kamala. But the thing I'll say about this is, as much as I love you, Joe, I don't see Joe completing 3 years. I in the third year, I see Kamala stepping up and going, "This is my show. This is my shine. I'm going to be the president of the United States of America, the first female prime minister
Yeah.
The first female
President.
in the United States of America. Yeah.
By the way, we're talking about Trump, and Biden's already taken the show. So can we stick to Trump, please?
No, but this is part of it. Okay, question 5. How did Donald Trump go from businessman to politician to prophet to God and a cult leader?
What?
That's a big question.
A cult? Well, yeah, all that he has got the profile, all what he's done for the good he's done, like against the bad he's done. People are willing to forgive him for that. He's still, like you said, he's developed a cult-like following. I really wish this cult-like following would realize that, right, it's over. Joe Biden, whether you like him or whether you don't like him, he's your president for the next 3 years. And it's up to America. It's up to you guys to unite yourselves just to sort it out. You know, if you don't like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, you can vote at the next election.
And if you
then you could probably bring him back in. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something, right? Wouldn't that be something? A president gets voted out, and then 3 years later, that president comes back in. That would be something. When was the last time that ever happened in U.S. history?
Well, that's what they're saying with this. Sorry to interrupt you. If I may interject, that's what they're saying with the whole Donald Trump thing, is that he's announced himself as, the candidate for 2024, and he wants to be reelected by the Trumppublicans and Republicans who stood by him and by his cult followers. And therefore, if he gets back into the White House, he sees himself as a person who his cult followers will say from 2024 to 2028, from 24 to 28, they'll reelect him. And after 2028, they'll reelect him and keep reelecting him. It's like almost like having him stay in power as a dictator, not a president. And this is what is wrong with the world.
But the thing is, you got to understand, right? There's got to be a reason why Donald Trump is so popular among voters. And this is what I wanted to bring you guys back to, which is if Donald Trump is so unpopular, why are people willing to die for him? Why are people willing to worship him? Why are people willing to call him God? Why are people willing to call him a prophet? So he must have been doing something right for them to go, you know what? I feel like worshiping these guys. I feel like starting up complete churches for this one guy. I mean, no one actually worshipped
Church of Trump.
No, seriously. No one's worshipped Obama. No one's worshipped Obama. No one worshipped Clinton. Both Clintons. No one worshipped Bush. No one worshipped Bush. But for some reason, people are completely thrown at Donald Trump because he's been doing something that no other politician has been doing. What is it about him that's so attractive, that's attracting all these voters? Because the thing is, if he was hated by everyone, there is no way in hell that he would get the amount of votes that he got. And I don't think it's down to purely we like him because he's white. I think it's more than that.
Well,
I think it's way more than
orange.
Okay. I believe there is a form of white supremacy, and it's frightening because his cult followers, they see him as this.
Joe Biden's white.
Yeah, but they see Donald Trump as like this guy because at CPAC, they brought in like a golden statue, fiberglass made golden statue of Donald Trump. And this was on Instagram, Facebook, on Twitter, it was raised as a hashtag 10 Commandments much, where they didn't want to listen to Moses and they were worshiping a golden calf. And Donald Trump to them is like a golden calf. And they see him as the one and only, their savior. And, they see him as the high mighty, someone who will save them.
It's interesting that you brought up the word savior, right? Because what's Donald Trump saving people from?
Nothing.
Well, I would disagree with that, because the thing is, since he left the Paris Climate Accord, and he doesn't really give a damn about the environment, and all those states which would normally have long-term unemployment all of a sudden have employment, like all those factory workers and stuff like that. I think if there's stability, and if he's creating stability where there hasn't been stability in a really long time within America's own borders, that could be like a number one reason why Donald Trump all of a sudden has become really popular. Another reason is Donald Trump, if you look at every single American president to date, Donald Trump is the one president who hasn't declared war yet. He's probably declared war against his own people, but he hasn't gone to Iraq. He hasn't gone to Iran. He hasn't gone to any of those countries. He hasn't invaded Russia. He's really more of a domestic president that cares more about his own people than the rest of the world.
Care about his people, because if he cared about his people, he wouldn't have killed half a million people have died from COVID.
Yeah, but see, I don't know if I can blame Trump for that.
Hang on, wait. Donald Trump cannot be blamed for the death of these people from COVID.
Why not?
He wasn't responsible for that. He didn't make the virus.
How's he not responsible
because the virus
people?
Because like us, okay, like Australia, like China, like every country around the world, they couldn't control COVID, and neither could Donald Trump. So you can't really blame Donald Trump for COVID specifically.
If he went on national television and said, this coronavirus pandemic is now global, I need you all to wear a mask, and we're gonna close places for 3 months to see how it goes. And if you want to go to a restaurant, cafe, it's not going to be like takeaway or a doctor or 5K. You have to wear a mask. No. He said to him,
I think I mentioned something like this. I mentioned something like this a long time ago. Donald Trump was slow off the mark when reacting to COVID, right? We'll grant that, because he was slow off the mark with that. But didn't he lock down certain parts of certain states like New York or something like that for a while?
Actually, yeah, he did. So there was he wanted to close down certain states, and also certain countries as well. And he actually asked, how could I make this legal? And what he did was just increase the amount of lower the amount of people that could come into the United States from specific countries that had possibly Islamic terrorists like Iran, like Iraq.
That's true.
And
that had one of those legal challenges, if I remember right.
And as a consequence, he lost, and they had to leave him. Let those people in, because a lot of those people were Americans.
And he built a wall.
Well, it's not really built. I mean, he said he was going to build a wall,
but he didn't build it.
But no, we'll talk about that in another video.
But he did build a wall. Let's put it there.
He actually failed to build a wall. He had a border, but he didn't have a wall. He wanted to build a wall. He was chancing for everyone to. Had a really good catchphrase. It drove a lot of people to say, "Hey, let's support this guy because he's going to build a wall." But the wall never really got built.
And he drove his followers at his last ditch effort with Rudy Giuliani, formerly respected mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, before he lost the plot. He said to his people, he said to his cult followers, "Let's all go to Capitol Hill. I will be with you." And Giuliani, what did he say? "Let's have trial by combat."
Well, that's like another.
That's another one of those ones that was taken out of context. But unfortunately, these people that Donald Trump had already whipped up into a frenzy took that as a call to arms, which is another comment that he shouldn't have said. And it's also another comment that Rudy Giuliani shouldn't have said. I felt that Rudy Giuliani's gone off the deep end since he tried to dye his hair, and that was exposed when it started running down his side of his head.
And the Borat situation.
Just before you go into the Borat situation, I'd just like to talk about the fact that that's another example of why Donald Trump is so popular. So basically, I think what Donald Trump's effectively doing, or was doing during his presidency, was basically igniting this, because you got to remember, there was a lot of violence during Donald Trump's presidency. You had Black Lives Matter popping up, you had White Lives Matter popping up, you had neo-Nazis popping up, you had ADFA popping up, you had a lot of
Antifa,
you had a lot of groups protesting and popping up and becoming violent. And so when you've got all that violence happening, and people just are so sick and tired of the previous governments that have basically done nothing for them. They want to get all that anger out. And so what Donald Trump does is he ignites that violence by making them angry, by making them feel powerful. And then it's not really a surprise that they go after Capitol Hill and feel that Donald Trump's the best president, because he basically is turning on the switch that they've been swallowing inside them for forevermore. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's so popular, in a bad way, because it's like going, this is one president that basically wants us to turn on that switch, when every other president's just going, no, don't turn on that switch, mate. It's not going to end well for you. Please don't do this. We live in a peaceful country. But these Americans, they're angry. They want revenge, and they've been swallowing this hatred for so long now that it was only a matter of time before they went click. And then that was the end of that. Okay. So that could be contributing to his popularity.
Okay. Before we go on to the sixth question, here's where my issue is, that ties into the sixth question, is that when he went to, I think, Michigan or somewhere close, he said to them, you have got good genes. Because you're white, you have good genes. I have good genes. You have white genes. We're like a racehorse. We're very rare. We're a winning racehorse, and I'm very proud of my German heritage, my German blood. And because you're white is supreme. Like, yeah. And this is where my sixth question. This is why we're passionate. My sixth question is: what world did his MAGA supporters wish to wake up to?
Well, here's the thing about that. That's another example of what Donald Trump's actually doing. He's very clever. So what he's doing is he's picking a particular race and making them feel special. And so when you pick a particular race and make them feel special and make them feel privileged and make them feel like they're in the right, they're the righteous ones and everyone else is wrong, okay, people will fight for you, because they will thought, oh my God, I'm white, you're white, you get it, you totally get it. And I think that's another reason why people are appealed to him, because there's a racist element there, that he's speaking to these racist people that want to feel special.
That was another mistake from Donald Trump, despite the fact that Minnesota is roughly, according to one of the censuses I'm reading, is 79% white. Unfortunately, I wish he hadn't have made that, because I wish he hadn't have made that comment, because, like I said, you don't want to be focused on one color.
Yes, that was
one race, one color. You know what I mean? You don't want to, because it gets compared to Germany from the 1930s, 1940s.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And he would just become another Hitler, effectively.
That's why people of America are frightened of, is that if he comes back into power, right, this will be
it'll be a new Nazi Germany, only American style. Yeah, everyone's got guns.
He's
no way.
He's before.
I don't believe that will happen.
Yeah, look, I
don't believe it'll be more. I don't believe it'll be more violent. I think he will realize what he did wrong if he decides to go back. And I'm going through all the recent all the presidents before. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out whether or not anybody has actually lost an election and actually come back and won the next one. I can't see that. I don't think I've ever seen that.
The only
just for the record, the only president that was inaugurated more than twice was Franklin D. Roosevelt, who was inaugurated 4 times.
And then they changed the rules.
Richard Nixon only served 1 term before he was asked to step down. And
2. Well, he didn't serve it all the way through, but he was there. He was there for a year. He was there for a year and a half before he was kicked out by Gerald Ford.
Okay, fair enough. So my mistake. So who was the person? I think was it George H.W. Bush that served 1 or 2?
No, okay. So George W. Bush did 2.
No, George H. George the father. Yeah. George W. Bush's father only served 1 term.
Yeah. That's
and
correct.
he's the next one.
Yeah, he's the only one out. He's the only one. He was the last person that actually served one term, and that was from 1989 to 1993.
Okay, so what question are you up
The
to
next
now?
question is the introduction of a Donald Trump gold statue exactly the same as the golden calf mentioned in the Bible?
I think we've already answered that.
Which we have, yes.
Yes, but you know what? When I saw that, I laughed my guts out. I thought it was the biggest joke I've ever seen. And I just thought, yeah, this is like comic relief for me.
But for me, as someone who is spiritual, I think that this is absolutely disgusting and so wrong in every sense of the word that, again, we're going back to the conversation, we shouldn't, but we're going back to the conversation of why is he such he's become like godlike to these cult followers, to the MAGA cult followers, and this gold statue. If you actually, while you're with me, if you go on the internet and search golden statue CPAC, you'll actually see what it looks like and how everybody's referring to it as part of the 10 Commandments, part of the Bible.
I'm looking at a picture. I'm looking at a picture right now as it was in the Hyatt Regency hotel, I believe it was.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like him, but his head's too big. I think his head's too big for that statue. I think maybe if they had brought it down a little bit and made it more lifelike instead of an inflated head, I think it might have been all right and not really that offensive.
I thought it looked like the guy out of Mad Magazine. I thought it was hilarious.
But do you see can you see the thing with it that says the 10 Commandments, and it's very like biblical and sort of like they shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have created like a gold statue. Like seriously, for me as someone of faith, someone who's spiritual, I can say honestly, it offended me so much. It disgusted me in so many ways.
The thing is, if anything, that one statue probably lowered Donald Trump's popularity just by that one statue. If in fact, do we know who actually commissioned it? Was it him or was it someone else?
It was made in Mexico.
By who?
We don't know. This is the points that I've written down. One, is this a joke? Do people take this seriously? Is it just another manipulative way to collect lifelong support based on belief rather than logic?
I don't see a connect. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see a connection between the Trump statue and the goat from the Bible, because I'm actually looking at the picture of the goat and
if you read
the golden calf, I should say. I don't see any. The only thing I see is the fact that it's gold. That's about it. I don't see him wearing a jacket, a tie, the American pants, or the American shorts, which I'm looking at now, and also thongs.
It's not about the clothes, but it does tie to
people,
10 Commandments.
there are people from MAGA that literally worship it as the golden Trump. And as much as I see that as a joke, there are real Americans that take this seriously.
They do.
Like as if it was a crucifix.
Yeah, and it does tie to the Bible, because when Moses held up the 10 Commandments, they were literally worshiping a golden calf, and Donald Trump's gold statue was seen as that, and people were offended and disgusted, like myself. I don't know about you, but I was offended and disgusted. Like seriously, there are people and politicians who
I noticed something. I noticed something with this golden statue of Donald Trump. You notice the head's actually more gold in the actual body than the actual head itself. The hair is actually more golden than the head.
Maybe they used it.
And for some reason, he's carrying, it looks like a wand with a star on it.
Yeah, see, I
like he's from Hogwarts or some.
Yeah, that's what I said. I thought it basically looked like if they sold it, right? I thought maybe what you should do, and I did like a little quiz on Facebook about this, and it was like, what would you do with this thing if you found it? A, worship it. B, melt it down and sell it on eBay, or B, basically sell it off and give the rest of the money to the Starlight Foundation.
That's what I'm saying. Is this? That's what I'm saying. Is this just another manipulative way to collect lifelong support based on belief rather than logic? Is this another way of?
I believe it's what these people are wanting to believe instead of logic. I believe you're right.
Yeah, I don't see any.
People are willing to believe. Considering all, like I said, all things considered, people would rather believe in a fella that's had no political experience and see how he goes. And it didn't work. And now we're going to see how Joe Biden goes for 3 years. And if they don't like Joe Biden, guess where they're going to go in 3 years? They're going to go back to Trump.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to go, I don't know if they'll go back to Donald Trump, but they probably will go back to a Trump. So one of his kids might take the place.
Rumor has it Ivanka or Donald.
Yeah.
Because I don't think
I think Donald Jr. is too extreme for this, to be honest. I think I've seen him do some carry on Twitter. I've seen some of the stuff that he posts on Twitter. I think he's too extreme. I think he's more extreme in some cases than his father. I don't believe it will work for Donald J. Trump Jr.
Ivanka, what do you reckon? See, I think
I don't think she would, considering how I don't think she would, considering how mainstream media went up to Donald, and even today, despite the fact that he's no longer president, they're still going after him.
But with
they're going to hound him from beyond the grave.
Yeah, but with their indictments and the Trump organization fraud and his tax thing, I don't see any Trumps, not even him, heading back to the White House. I'm sorry.
He's too old to run.
No, but because he's in trouble. He's in trouble with the law. He's in trouble.
But the thing is, right, the more of these that they're trying to drag Donald Trump to, like more of these particular indictments, the more that people are going to start believing, well, hang on, maybe Donald Trump was right about this, because they're all out to get him. And the longer that drags on, the more it's going to go in favor of Donald Trump. It's going to work against the Democrats. It's going to work against the Democrats and go back to the Republicans. And just for trivia, Donald Trump used to be a Democrat.
Really?
Yes, he was.
No, really?
I don't know that.
Let me just bring this up. Real quick.
He's always been a conservative.
He was on Oprah once and said, I didn't want to become president of the United States.
All right, here we go. Right. From 1999 to 2001, he was for a reform party. From 2001 to 2009, he was a Democrat. From 2011 to 2012, he was an independent.
He left the party.
So for more time that he was a Republican, he was actually a Democrat. He was a Democrat for 8 years.
What changed? Money? Sorry.
I think probably the way that the Democrats were handling things, it was like, man, maybe this wasn't for me. And from 2009 to 2011, he did become a Republican.
Well, I think there were
from 2009, so pretty much right after he flipped. Go on.
I was saying that the thing is about the Democrats was that what tended to happen was there was the extreme left that started to occur. And that's when the Democrats began to become scary. And that could have been a reason why he would have wanted to switch sides. That and the Republicans would have supported all these businesses. But look, the Democrats were becoming really, really, really violent for a really long time. And really,
like I said, he's had four political affiliations. I'll just go back through the years. From 1999 to 2001, he was for the Reform Party. From 2001 to 2009, he was a Democrat. But before all of that, from 1987 to 1999, he was a Republican. He went from Republican to Reform to Democrat to Independent and then back to Republican. So he's had 4 cracks at it.
Wow.
It's amazing that he hasn't joined the Greens yet.
No, please, for the love of God, no. He'd join the hemp party or something.
Oh my God.
Here's my next question. What is the likelihood of another attack on the Capitol?
I don't know, but I'd say pretty soon because.
Well, they have been threatening.
Yeah, they have been threatening, but you know what? They would have amped up the security on the Capitol, knowing full well that a lot of politicians could have lost their lives within an instant. So that's actually hard.
I don't think it can happen. I don't think it can happen. What will happen now that the Democrats have control of the Senate and the upper house, they could introduce something that would stop anybody from protesting on the Capitol Hill. And I think after what happened in January, that should happen.
So you're saying like a ban on protests on Capitol Hill, but wouldn't that be anti-democratic?
Yeah. So we don't want to see the Capitol stormed. That's the thing,
By doing,
I don't mind you protesting, right? If you want to protest, fine, but A, do it in a safe environment. B, no violence. C, if you're going to do it on Capitol Hill, you're not going to do it on Capitol Hill, considering what happened the last time. The police will be ready for that. They'll want people if they get too close to the Capitol.
I was going to ask this next question, but I think we've already.
What's the next?
We've already looked into it. We've already answered that question, which is, with the support of Donald Trump's new constituency, what is the likelihood of a Trump family member being voted in? But we've already answered that. So.
Yeah,
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. The mainstream media went after Donald Trump really hard for the last 4 years. I don't believe that another Trump will be able to handle it as good as to be expected than Donald. I think if anybody's going to run to be the next president of the United States, it will be Donald.
Yeah, look, I honestly think that if
but it'll be Kamala.
Yeah, Kamala Harris is way too popular for her to lose an election. I don't see any Trumps getting in anytime soon. They might want to compete, but I don't see them actually getting in over Kamala. She's way too popular.
I'm a big Kamala Harris fan. So
I think what's going to happen is there will be a transition during the 3 years where Joe Biden will transition to Kamala Harris as we get closer to the US election, just to keep the White House in the Democrats hands.
But the thing is, that's what I'm saying. I love you, Joe, and I'm right behind you and with you, and I support you. But I'm sorry, but Kamala has been stepping up, should I say, as a vice president of the United States of America.
Yeah.
The first female elected vice president of the United States of America, and she will be the first elected female president of the United States of America. And she will elect a girl vice president alongside her. I don't see her picking a guy. I see her picking another girl, another female.
The thing is, the great thing about Kamala Harris is that she isn't just known for being female. She's known for being the first of many things.
Yep.
And I mean, she's got a law degree behind her.
She was a district attorney.
Yeah, exactly.
She was a state attorney. She was an attorney general. Oh my God, this lady is amazing.
Her resume
is impeccable.
Is impeccable and massive. It's so impressive that, look, the other politicians simply can't compete.
I think they're afraid of her.
She's like the gold.
You want to know the scary thing? Do you want to know a scary little side note?
What?
Kamala Harris's parents. Her father is Donald J. Harris.
What?
No.
How freaky is that? Donald J. How scary was that?
Oh, wow. That's going to screw up her election, isn't it?
She's married to Donald J. Oh, wouldn't that screw things up if Donald Trump decides to change his name by default to Donald J. Harris? Wouldn't that screw things up?
The thing is, I cannot
confuse everyone.
I cannot wait to see Doug Emhoff, her husband, who's the first ever second gentleman to become the first gentleman of the United States of America, and her as the first female president of the United States of America. Her husband will go from second gentleman to first gentleman, which is a remark. And they've both created history because he's the second gentleman in the United States.
Yeah.
It's never happened. And he will go from second to first.
Do you know how funny that sounds? It's like the first gentleman, like before him, there were no other gentlemen.
No, because it was all the first lady.
Bill Clinton wasn't a gentleman.
No.
Remember what he did?
No, but I'm saying that the thing is, Kamala's husband will go from second gentleman in the United States of America to
the first gentleman.
Yeah, and it's always been first lady. Look at Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Look at
for sure.
Barack Obama and his wife. Look at past presidents. They've all had their wives were first ladies. Look at Donald Trump and Melania. But look at Kamala.
You seem to say that with a bit of disgust right there.
Absolutely. But look at Kamala, second gentleman to first gentleman. It's from history to history. I think Joe Biden will leave America in the greatest of hands when it comes to her, because thing is, there's no way someone like Donald Trump, who's already in trouble with the law, mind you, who's already in trouble with the law, can run anymore, because there's no way, because 95%.
He's already been impeached twice and cleared by the Senate.
Which is not fair. They should have convicted him. It's the Republicans, it's the Trump Republicans that cleared him. And Mitch McConnell said that if he was to run again, he'd support him, when he trashed him in the Senate, saying that he should have been convicted. He said he caused these attacks, but he said if he ran again, that he'd support him. I don't think there's something wrong with these senators. There's something wrong with these congressmen.
Next question.
And the final question is, what is this new America that Donald Trump has effectively created?
Okay, so it's the Donald Trump. What he's actually created here is there's more division, but it's kind of interesting what he's basically created, because before America was called the United States of America, and it kind of still is, but there's a lot of people that feel so divided that it's hard to even call it the United States of America, because they're not really divided. There are so many, because of his policies, because of his arrogance, because of his
the way he handled COVID,
the way he handled COVID, the way that he attacked the media. What's effectively happened is it's just brought up. There are a bunch of people really that didn't give a damn about politics, that couldn't even be bothered to vote, that would just go, yeah, you know what, it's probably going to be a Democratic win, so who gives a damn? I'm not going to vote. Someone can go vote for me. But now Americans are so obsessed with voting. They've effectively become Australia, in the sense that it's become a sport for them now. And they're really interested in who becomes the next president, because it actually means something to them. Before Donald Trump got there, it was like, you know what, every president is exactly the same. The same policies are going to happen. The same problems are going to happen. The same issues are going to happen. America's definitely going to go to war again. What's the point? You're all the same. The only thing that's different is your color and the type of tie that you're wearing. And that's about it. But now America is so obsessed with voting, so obsessed with control, so obsessed with identity politics, so obsessed with what it means to be American, that it's completely changed the political landscape in America as we know it. And I honestly don't think that people will literally, even though voting is non-compulsory in the States, the minute they have the legal right to vote, they will just vote, because it's really hitting them hard. It's really hitting them hard on both sides. So I don't think either A, they don't want another Donald Trump in ever again, or anyone like Donald Trump, or B, they either want Donald Trump or someone like Donald Trump to visit the White House. I mean, the fact that Kanye West wanted to become the president of the United States, and other celebrities now want to become the president of the United States,
shows a great deal to the American.
We can rule one. We can rule one out. We can rule one out right now. Kanye West will never be the president.
No, of course not.
No, but
that was a publicity stunt. But I suppose now with his upcoming divorce from Kim Kardashian, he might run the anti-Kim party or something, or the anti-Kardashian party, and his first action would be to kick the Kardashians out of the country.
What if the Biebs became president of the United States?
The Biebs?
Yeah, what if Justin Bieber became president of the United States, or even worse?
Well, for starters, it can't happen because he's Canadian.
Oh, thank God for that. Thank
But
God
you know
for
who
that.
should be? You know who should be? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, that'll never
He
happen.
can't either.
Can't
He's
either. He can't do
he can't.
As long as he's an American citizen, he can.
No, he can't. He cannot.
No.
Can't do it. He has to be born in America, which he's not. So,
But that rule will change. That law will change.
the thing is, I don't think it will,
If he's not allowed to run for president, why did he become the governor of California? He's
because
not
that's
American.
because that's the highest office.
Because
that
that's
he
a
can
different
take.
rule.
That's the highest office that he can take. He can't take. Look, if Arnold Schwarzenegger could become the president of the United States, he would have already run. But the highest office that he can take under his visa is governor.
Is the governor.
Okay, that's the highest office that he can take. And look, he's doing a very good job, might I add. But that's the highest office that he can take.
Mind you, his term in office ended in 2011. So
They still
it's been 10 years since he was out of office.
Hmm.
Can you believe that?
Well, who knows? Anything is possible.
10 years. It's been 10 years. It's been 10 years. It's been 10 years, 2 months, and 10 days.
Wow. Time to get him back in office. Anyway, I think that's all the questions we have for tonight. Is there anything else we want to mention, or is that it?
Just for the record, 155. I can't believe this stat. Wait till you hear this one. And for the record, 155,485,078 people got off their asses and voted at that last US election.
Yeah,
It's
actually a record.
Historic. It's a historic record.
Yeah. And for that reason,
Yeah.
that's why America, just with that one stat alone, is a very simple reason why America's political landscape has just changed. And now Americans finally do.
And for the record, Joe Biden won the popular vote as well.
Exactly. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That is it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you with us next Saturday. Have a fun evening.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.